And it's on. Well, okay, sounds like you all had a challenging but successful week, and now we're ready to move into this week's topic. I'm going to start by reading 3 different scenarios, and I just want you to listen, close your eyes, or just imagine yourself in the situation. And when I finish, I'll just ask for your reaction to each one. While at the playground, 3-year-old Olivia is climbing up the jungle gym. Typically, she climbs up halfway and slides down the smaller slides. Today, she climbs to the very top to take the big slide. When she gets to the top, she's scared and cries down to her father to come get her. The slide is too big and she's too scared and she needs him to come get her. Initial reaction?
I think she can do it.
You think
She can do it. She can come down.
I think she could climb down if she was too scared to slide.
climb down?
I think I want to climb up and go down with her. And go down with her.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to let her go down by herself, but there are safety issues as well.
Okay. Move on. When Sarah is arriving to pick up her son from after-school care, he is outside playing basketball with some friends. She stops to watch and notices that her son is not able to make a basket. One of the children announces to all the others that he can't play basketball, and they all laugh at him. The boy throws down his ball and goes to sit on the other side of the playground. Initial reaction?
Well, I want to yell at all those other kids for being cruel, but I think better to go and just sit with him on the side and say, I'm sorry, this isn't working out for you today. I know you can make a basket. If it's sad when I see that, yeah. And so then I have to think about what I can do to make it right. I don't know if it's gonna take me a few seconds to gather my thoughts, probably to see what I can do, but my thought is to help him deal with the situation and make him feel better. But I have to think about how am I gonna do that, and that's gonna be the tricky part.
I have a very visceral reaction to rejection. It was very personal.
Yeah.
And when my feelings were, look at the Sarah's very different, but my feelings were all
Like related to the boy.
and to myself.
Right.
Too.
One more. 17-year-old Jake wants to drive his friends to the movies. He's been driving for over a year, but tonight there's freezing rain in the forecast and you're hesitant. He is exasperated that you do not trust him to drive. The movie theater is close and he has plenty of winter driving experience. Reluctantly, you let him go and ask that he drive the family's 4-wheel drive vehicle. When he gets home later that night, he lets you know that everyone is safe, but the mailbox in front of your house is now knocked over and your car has a big ding.
I wouldn't scold him. I would just say I'm glad to get him home, and I'm glad his friends are safe. And if I had been out driving, I could have had the same situation happen to me.
You and I kind of stick a lot.
I think that would be like the perfect thing to do, but me personally, I might have freaked out and said, you know, that's what I was afraid of.
I
Take
told
a
you
deep
so.
breath, and go, and I'd be probably mad at myself, because I let him do it. Not really mad at him, but my gut reaction was no, and then I let him manipulate me, and then I said yes, and I should have said no. So I would mad at myself.
I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe work out something with regard to, fixing the, helping like with the allowance going towards
A new mailbox or
a
a
mailbox or the
deductible.
ding or something, or helping build a new mailbox or whatever the case may be. So, because there is some investment there. Obviously, I think it was a smart move to let the kid go out with the four-wheel drive, if you have the luxury of having two cars. That was probably the better of the two. But, you weigh your options but I think there should be some consequences.
I responded to his honesty.
All right, I'm grateful for that.
Becky came in and said what happened. Well, I have a quote here that kind of summarizes this whole theme, and I'm going to open us up with that. As parents, of course, we want to protect our children from danger, from upset, from things not turning out how they had hoped. But we also need to realize that it's not just okay, but essential to let our children make mistakes. Our responsibility is to keep kids unharmed. That doesn't mean shielding them from all the possibilities of defeat. It means letting them fail safely. That's difficult, especially when it results in sadness, anxiety, or regret. But as psychologist Madeline Levine recently wrote in a New York Times article, if you can't stand to see your child unhappy, you are in the wrong business. Dr. Betty Drexler. So now we're going to split into pairs, and I'm going
Oh, no, we've changed, so now we're together.
Well, Judy and I was good together. Kate and I know each other very well, so it's kind of cool.
split up. What these are positive developmental outcomes that occur if you let your child experience failure or defeat or let them make mistakes. And what the positives are that can come out of that. So I'm going to give each pair one, and if you could just talk about it, think about how maybe it relates to your own personal experience or one of the scenarios, and then decide which one of you will share that with the group.
Okay.
One of the things I thought about that is if you have, like teaching them to help, it doesn't have to be, with hospital corners and unprofessional and this type of thing. You want it to be, if it's your kids and your family, you want it to be done immediately. I know some families don't even have it.
It's ridiculous.
But if that's,
Yeah, and I.
making that, well, it doesn't have to be homework. Or the way it is.
We don't get extra
Show me out what
feedback,
you got.
because it's all about
So it's about learn this over
and to get it up and
Part of this documentary.
And so
Instead of just
they
saying,
know,
it's your homework.
external information, if they ask
Help
you,
you,
what do you think
need
is
it.
this?
Encourage them to make
After they
decisions.
draw something, instead of saying, I want to give her this like us.
How is it?
Don't say, that's an interesting use of bread. So I'm thinking
But,
and positive.
the downside of that, the downside of
making a
making
judgment
is that,
so the
then
child can make
you
their own
are-
judgment.
and your kid will tell you,
Whatever it is.
I didn't do well on the test because you didn't
Oh,
talk
because our
about it, you
culture,
study checked and stuff.
You know, talks about.
So, you know, and again, for me, that's the quickest way to remind
It's never
you,
forgotten.
I'm not touching this because
But they
when, if it goes sour, it has to go sour with them.
You know,
Sorry.
there's always gonna be someone
Yeah.
that more talented, more capable,
And I've done that too
but if
with,
they have that inner
with other
and
trust issues
understanding
where you have to,
themselves.
And I think
That's particularly tough for me as a
Yeah.
school, because you're
Yeah.
thinking versus only 2 years when they're out the door.
Yeah.
I can't.
Sometimes too, like
The
when I was
child
a
to
kid,
get it independently.
parents would
This is
say,
what we do in
you know, you
observation
go out
in
with
high
this kid
school.
because they're like,
Because
family.
when I was teaching
Yeah,
last year, I didn't know more
Yeah.
time. Once you reach out to their area, then I got actually reading specific. Because you feel
Maybe not.
and allow the child then to work with the material.
Right.
And I watch the child making mistakes over again. And if I see that in a particular place where I present a lesson,
Right.
the child just gets
So I
away,
can't,
I'll let the mistake go on for a while, and then I might re-present that lesson at a different time.
and that's
But at a different
the,
time, and I
sometimes,
say,
We'll take about 30 more seconds.
let's build the big tower together. So,
And I did those
present
layout
it again,
pictures.
and then stand back and watch the child work. Because it could be I presented wrong, or I didn't present exactly what the child needed, so the child wasn't at the place where it was.
So it's what
And I have to be able to
Right.
say that.
Right, because you don't want to duplicate it either.
Right.
You want them to work
Right, right.
You know,
So,
So this goes to the computer, the one down the slide, and to avoid driving the car. Yeah, I mean, we all make mistakes.
so then I thought.
I think the first time I drove the car and I was even take to the football game, I didn't look to see if anyone was, I think my husband and pulled out of the parking and border. Unfortunately, I didn't get hit, but it was my, I mean, that was a good lesson.
I did, yeah, we were hard.
Yeah.
Because those were different.
And it's integrity. No, you all have a different, so, why don't we just go around, and if you can tell us what your developmental outcome is, and a little bit about what you discussed, how you think, start with someone else.
Okay, so ours is about, children becoming dependent when we are constantly helping them when they struggle. And then they become dependent on us for that. When what we're really striving for is a more independent child as they grow older. So, Lisa and I talked about how, for our older children, homework is a sticking point, because we want them to do well. And my example was, but then my kid says, I own it. It's my fault that this didn't work out. And I took part in it, so
Oh, so, therefore you're
that
responsible
I was
for.
partly responsible. And I've learned very quickly that's a very bad place to be. So I gotta put the ownership back on where it belongs. And that helps me to stay out of this.
So making them be dependent on themselves, even if that means getting a C instead of an A.
You share the A and you share the C. And if you're sharing the C, that's not where you want to be. So it's better to say, and to be able to say, you own that A all on your own. You didn't need me. You own the A. This is your doing, not mine.
Right.
You did it all by yourself. And that's building confidence for them.
Absolutely.
And our sort
Thank
of
you.
blends right into that because it's self-monitoring. Whereas someone might bring something to you and instead of saying, good job, which is what people do about 500 times a day, there are other ways to focus on how the child did it inside. Just, you know, this is a hard subject for you, I think, this is good.
Right.
You know, so you get to see.
Yeah, and I reflected on my experience as a Montessori teacher, where we don't do extrinsic feedback and approval. We just don't do approval, disapproval. A child brings an art piece and says, what do you think? And the instinctive thing would be, oh, I like that. we don't do that. We say instead, that's an interesting use of red.
Do you ask how they feel about it ever to get an
I
idea
might.
of whether?
I might. What do you think of your use of red there? Tom? Mhm.
And are you happy? I mean, because a lot of things that we do, we don't have to excel at. Are we happy doing it? We may have fallen down on the ski slope 52 times, but if we're really happy, because it could have been worse, that counts.
Yeah.
No, that's very important.
Yeah.
So it's that intrinsic, how do you feel about the situation? And not that it always has to be happy,
Oh,
No,
no,
but-
right.
but the self
Mm-hmm.
monitoring piece of it.
Monitoring.
Thank you.
And ours is about trust. And whether it was trusting the child to, especially going into teens and preteens, where they make their own friends. Because we might have our conception of what a friend looks like, but we don't know fully the backgrounds of the kids, and that's kind of a leap to let kids make their own friends, but they have to do that and kind of distill who, what might, other kids that might be true friends, or not, and they have to work through that. And then we were talking also about, taking a subject, I think it was
Well, I'll say that when my son played hockey, he signed a form that said he wouldn't drink. And he did, he's a junior. And of course, we found out about it. We tried to prevent it from happening, but we didn't prevent it from happening. And he spent all of New Year's Day waiting to call his coach, because we said, you must call your coach. And of course, we had to suspend it for 2 weeks. I now want to ask him, I've never asked him, because he's now 40 years old. Does he remember that? And was he remember that? It was profound for my husband and his parents.
I'm sure he remembers it, but
Mhm.
what he thinks of it.
Thinks of that.
Yeah.
It was so important to have, to not betray something that you had said you would do.
Right.
It was incredible.
Mm-hmm. So the trust thing, and then the ramifications for breaking our trust.
Breaking the trust.
Yeah.
And you trusting them, and then helping them
Right.
trust others. Gee whiz, you guys, you're a good group. I kind of want to do the whole class. But, that's all we need to do. Okay. Thank you. What? Oh, I'll turn it off. Stop. I won't put this in. Good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You can Photoshop.
We're all really small.
Are they gonna be able to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's just on a video camera.
I used that to tape Simon's game the other day.
Yeah.
And it worked phenomenally. And then he just plugged it into the computer.
I'm upgrading this week.
Now
you're the same role.
Yeah, you're moderators. And then
Yeah.
it's wireless.
I won't be able to help myself
So you can
from a
immediately
story.
put those pictures, which are a little bit better quality on your phone.
Wow.
And so it goes out.
my gosh.
That's how we got it. But,
I
thank you.
remember that.
I'm not sure to get back to you.
No.
Yeah, life has changed.
It was,
Really